Tim Black. Yes, I am. True. Funny. Tim Black.
There it is.
I am TimBlack.com. Tim Black.
Energy. All right. All right. All right. Thing up here. Act right. I feel dark in here. What's going on? Hey, guys, how you doing? Welcome to the Tim Black at Night Show. Glad you guys could tune in. Tonight is special. You know why it's special? Because these guys right here, man, I got these guys with me tonight. This is Ricardo, and this is my man, Nico, and they are activists, and they are young, and they are inspired, and they have their own news network, and they want to come here tonight to talk about things that are important to them and things they think should be important to us as we move forward. And look, it's going to be a lot of fun, so I'm glad you tuned in. Give it up for Ricardo, and Nico. Rico and Nico. Say what up, guys. Talk to the people. They love you already.
Yeah, so basically, we're students of Eckerd College, and we started a news network over the summer. Started out of actually my living room, kitchen. But since then, we've grown a lot, and we've actually moved into studio in the school. We've been covering the DNC. We're planning on going to Standing Rock pretty soon, hopefully.
Yeah, later we're going to talk about that, because that is, I think, one of the most important things that one of our main projects that we have right now, and to share the information with the links where we can share with like more.
Yeah, and bring awareness, because at the end of the day, awareness is really important, because if people don't know and are asleep, then how they're going to act. So awareness leads to action.
Right. So let me back up a second. So you're both students at the same college. You both go to Rutgers, right? And what got you so now you form a news network? Is that like what people do? I mean, I know kids in college. My son's in college. He didn't have a news network. So why did you decide to do this? What's up? Nico, why did you decide to do this?
Well, it was a mutual thing, because the thing is that I've been very into politics since I was born, I think. I don't know, since like sixth grade, or what I mean. But and Ricardo, and we always had really good conversations about just like commentary, basically. But Ricardo is really good, and he used to work with an actual channel, a local news channel. And since what, junior year?
Yeah, since junior year of high school, I started out as an editor, and then 3 months later, as people kept leaving, they just kept promoting me, and then I became a producer.
Oh, I love it. I love it. The elevation by termination. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Seniority gives you your escalation. Hey, that happens, man. So they left, you stayed, you kept grinding, and what happened, Ricardo?
So basically, after that, I was being censored a lot by the news network, and that's even for a local news network where you have, well, for example, like they really wanted to focus on local fluff stories. They wanted feel good, cute. But no, I wanted to point out
the typical local news.
Yeah,
that is the typical weather. The weather is awesome.
Oh yes,
all about that weather.
Weather is the most important thing. If you cut into weather,
everyone needs the weather 24/7 all the time.
Yeah.
So what kind of stories were you wanting to cover that they weren't covering, Ricardo? Like what, for instance?
Basically, a lot of the corruption that was going on in Obama's term, just things in politics, the hypocrisy in our media, and since my bosses are friends with some of these media people, they don't want to make them look bad. So in that sense, after 2 years, I got my experience, and I got the hell out of there. And I said, you know what? We got to do our own thing.
Yeah, let's give it up. Hold on. Let's give it up for getting the hell out of there. I like that. I like that. Yeah. Hey, there's some old folks who need to, older folks, I should say, who need to take a page out your book and realize that you don't have to, put up with it. You know, go do what you want to do. So, okay, so you leave there, and then what happened after you left? You got your experience. What's going on?
I took him.
Yeah. Literally, because honestly, he's the big idea guy. You know, like he's the one who keeps me kind of motivated, and I'm the one who actually implements, you know, the production in it. Like I make it happen. He comes up with the stuff. You know, I just go around with him and another buddy of mine. Everything that they need done. You know, I'm the guy who gets it done. So
Kind of like before, I used to have an Instagram, or I still have it, and I'm gonna launch that later on, like a 2.0. But it was basically an Instagram account that's know/your/world. So know your world, and I would post about countries every couple days, like every day or so. I would post a country with the map and a flag, and then I would type probably like 5 paragraphs, pretty short, but as an actual introduction to the country. And it kind of grew a decent amount. I got like probably like 4,000 followers or something like that. And so I got kind of like that social media game or whatever. And I was like, all right. And then Bernie Sanders came through, and I was like, I made Feeling the Burning, and I was like, all right. That one got to like another like 3K, which is not like too much, but it's still like, I can play with this. I can play with this. I can play with this. And then with Ricardo, we were talking about politics and all of them, and then I was kind of seeing shows like yours, TYT, and we were like, you know, like you have to have the knowledge, but all you need is a camera, and just like, you know how you do commentary for sports, we do commentary for politics, and it's like pretty like, you know, we interact with people, we get ideas, and then we were like, let's just do it, and we just started in a studio that we had here in Ekert. Actually, we started here, and then we went over the summer. Then we went to his house. Yeah. We did it over in his kitchen, and then we came back, and we're back here in actually another studio.
So technically, the first studio was a closet. Then we moved into the living room, and then we actually got like a real studio. So you know,
and still not today. We're not done yet, because right now we have a little problem.
Our studio space is behind the gym, and people just drop weights in the middle of our recording.
So every 5 minutes we'll be recording. Like the videos that you see is probably like the 30th.
Yeah.
Because we'll be recording, and then just weights just drop. Gotta start with it. It doesn't
you guys, you know what that is? They call that paying dues, brother. You were paying dues. You remind me how when I was coming up, when we were like, I was doing like music, and you know, we'd have a homemade studio, you know, and it would be really bad, man. I mean, you know, you got your sock over your little $20 microphone, you got a 4-track machine you got from a pawn shop, and you thought you were balling, you know, like now. It's a whole new world, you know what I'm saying? So, but look, guys, that's great. I mean, you got the ambition, right, and the passion, or you wouldn't be doing it, because it doesn't sound like it's easy.
No.
Yeah, it definitely. We thought it would be a lot more smoother. Like, I don't know, we were like, I was just like super excited. Like, we were in so many like Facebook groups of Bernie, and I was like, we can share this with so many people, you know, like, and it picked up definitely. Like, a lot of people started following us in the beginning. Like, there was a big momentum, but then you get to a point where you just kind of and maybe like and then like videos, maybe you're getting like less views, and then you're kind of like losing. Like, maybe you get a little frustrated, and then you think it's like, but we just stuck to it. You know, like after 6 months, we're still kind of like going a little bit up, but like to the point. But like definitely. We can see a path. Like,
we're seeing a path. We're definitely growing once we start doing more coverage of the Standing Rock protests. That's making us grow.
Our next one is, I want to go to Flint also. Like, Flint, I think those are the 2 stories I think that are the most crucial right now. Not just because the problem, I think pipelines are being built, and obviously not as. Maybe, I don't know, like that's just the one that we know a lot about. But there's a lot of pipelines that are being built throughout the country, even just right here in Florida. Tim Canova is about to be here where we are. We're going to see him in a week, because he's going to come to protest against this other pipeline that's being built right here. So it's not just that pipeline, there's many more. And same with Flint. There's many other places where they don't have good water. Those are just two cases where it's just absurdly, crazily over beyond, like, you know, like national news. But we also have to look at other places that are, because that's a systematic problem.
Yeah.
That I think is because of, if you think about it, campaign finance reform, or the need for campaign finance reform. Because if you think about it, the person who could have prevented what happened in Flint, or even also in North Dakota, were the governors. And they are totally complicit because of the fact that, I'm sure we can look it up on Open Secrets and make sure I got 100%, but I'm almost guaranteed sure that they get contributions from oil companies that
I mean, DAPL itself gave money to the sheriff's county to militarize their police and intimidate protesters. You know, so there's this deep issue of corruption, and that's what we want to tackle. Because I feel that people have been discouraged by it, and people are not really aware. They don't really want to listen to the news because they don't have trust in the news. 6% of Americans have credibility towards the news. It's just like, come on, we need a reliable news source. Independent media is rising up. New media is rising up, and that's what people need. And so this is the beginning of the media revolution, and it's good that we're hopping on that show right now.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like he sometimes, like, I don't know, I'm gonna talk about Tai Lopez for a second, because that's one of the things that he talks about, and it's true. Like he says that, like, there's some people that say that he's a scam or whatever. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm talking about like what he says, and like it applies. One of the things that he says is talking about trends. You have to look at what's not follow trends, but rather kind of see where things are going. And one of those things is social media and new media that actually is being so, it's becoming so powerful and so important. Even the mainstream media is having to start to talk about it, even if it is as fake news.
Yeah.
But they're having to talk about it as this news from online that are threatening to them.
Yeah.
So they have to call them fake news because, you know, like, and I think that's like indirectly aiming at kind of like quieting down what's going on with North Dakota.
Yeah, because
to make people think.
Well, in your school,
sorry.
in your schools, guys, in the university, what is the feeling of media to younger people, to people that you go to class with? Do they ever have conversations about how they feel about media, mainstream media?
Yeah, we're political science majors, so we talk about that almost every day.
Yeah.
And everyone knows the media is extremely corrupt, and like the mainstream media is extremely corrupt. And
I'm pretty sure
it's just like a common thing to, like, it's not even a discussion. Like
it's basically here. It's a given. I'm pretty sure
it's
at least 98% of the students here will tell you that they have little
they don't
trust
the
the
media.
media.
They don't, like, I don't think anyone here actually trusts the mainstream media.
You know, that's a real interesting idea. You know, that this is something that I think if you jumped like to a different section of age group, older folks, for instance, and seniors, you know, I think you would get the opposite, right? They would say the more reliable source are the people with the suits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that we can't wear suits, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like that legitimizes those older folks that just say, well, these people are old like me. They got to be telling me the truth. And I know when I was coming up, guys, I didn't question, like, you know, when you saw the news, you saw the news. You saw the weather, right? You believed it, even though it was mostly wrong.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Great job. You don't even have to be right and you still get a paycheck. Sort of like Nate Silver. But anyway, from 48 to 38 or whatever. But my thing is, that's a real shift, guys, if you think about it, from where it used to be, where people, people used to mostly, the majority of people believed it. So I'm going to ask you a question, Ricardo. Do you think that feeling has something to do with the protests that we see, primarily younger people, Black Lives Matter, Occupy, other movements that, you know, that's part of the motivation, them knowing that their media sucks?
Because when you have this feeling that you don't trust the media, then who can you trust? There's like no one out there who actually call them out, so you have to do it yourself. So that's why I think these protests and these activists are coming out now, because they have that sentiment that they just don't trust anyone in government, first of all, and the media is thing. So they have to do it within their own social networks and their community. And you're seeing that's what we've seen for years, that groups, Facebook, local groups, they really thousands of it. Twitter, like the Arab Spring was Twitter on Facebook. Yeah.
Right.
So
It was that.
so they are becoming a way more active, organizing a lot more, and are actually doing stuff themselves because they can't rely on anyone else to do it, because mainstream media isn't doing their job.
I think that it is connected, and I think mainly because of the internet. The internet was
Yeah, the quality's really going down, guys. If you have any other windows open other than Skype, you might want to kill them, just in case you got anything else running on your laptop at the moment. Because you sounded clear there for the most part. It really just said.
Is that better? Yes, that should be. All right. There we go. Yeah. There we go. So,
Okay, cool. But yeah, I was just wondering because, like, I don't know, man. You just inspired me. You just gave me this idea. You know, this consciousness, this stream of consciousness. Like, you know what? Maybe if people feel that way, maybe that's why people, more young people, because they just don't trust the establishment. But where'd that come from?
See, my dad is a journalist. He has a journalism master's, so I talk to him about journalism basically almost every day. And what he tells me is that throughout history, even the media has the reason why it's called the fourth estate and has had so much power is because throughout history it has always been horizontal. Vertical. Like the structure of journalism has, for example, big editors like the New York Times, like the editors, like, for example, you have to obviously know about this, like your job, it goes up and up and up.
Yeah.
So whenever someone really high up doesn't want a story covered, like, it's just not covered. Like, it just will not. Today, and no one could do anything about it. So it would just not be out. And without internet, well, that story just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Today, what happens is that because of the internet, everything is more horizontal. Matter if the New York Times doesn't want a story to go out, it will still reach millions of people just because of people like you and I posted on Facebook or Twitter. And so it closed the gap between people.
Yeah.
And it kind of filled in that gap. And
I think
that's why they just lost so much power. That's why no one buys newspapers anymore. That's why no one,
because also another factor that plays into this trust of the media is regulation of the media. Because back in the 70s, journalists were doing great work in covering the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandals.
The Iraqi War.
People had actual trust in the media. They saw them as a reliable source. As you deregulate the media, especially in 1996, the Telecommunication Act, which led basically to 6 companies owning most of the mainstream media. So when you have 6 companies who own this, you develop a corporate bias. So these reporters,
it becomes an oligopoly.
Yeah,
it's
not in the sense where like these people are sitting in a room together and like planning to just.
No, it's like AT&T and Verizon and Sprint are going to have more expensive prices that they will maintain high just for like them. They will maybe compete a little bit with like some features, not even price, because like in macroeconomics you study that they don't want to decrease the price because that would start a price war, and they don't want that.
Yeah.
So they just keep the price like relatively the same with depending the features, but it's just like you have 3 options.
Yeah.
And so that's what's called an oligopoly. In media, it's 6 options, but still, it's still very much.
No. What they do is that these 6 people actually just create a bunch of other branches.
Yeah.
And it makes it seem as that there's actually
like
diversity.
Like Disney owns ESPN. Like, who would ever expect that? And it's very deceiving.
And they don't sit in a back room just like planning out their schemes. Like, no, it's just what they do isn't the people that they hire. They hire people who are not going to rock the boat, that they're not going to steer the pot, and, we're just going to go with whatever goes.
But also, that is the nature of corporations. And because I want to also make clear that I'm not against corporations and I'm not against capitalism. what I think is that it should be well done. It should be people of a profit mentality kind of thing, because corporations, that's what they do. They have smaller branches and companies. And for example, with my dad, we was working on a business, and we were thinking about making a corporation. So for example, we have a company that sells food, and then we have another one that does logistics for other countries, for other companies, because this one needs this one, and it just makes sense. And that's just how corporations work. But it's the problem is that right now there's only 6 that have control over 90% of the media, and that just can't happen. That's an oligopoly, and that's, for example, when Teddy Roosevelt ran for president, that's what he wanted to do, to break up those trusts, those monopolies. And right now we have, for example, no one talks about the oil monopoly, the Standard Oil. That's like a completely untouchable.
Yeah,
we need to get rid of these monopolies, I think.
Yeah, we've been in a war for the longest time now. And when was the last time you heard CNN, MSNBC, or even Fox talk about the war? I don't think I've heard it at all this year.
No,
But
they're not talking
we're
about it at all. You're right, absolutely right. They're blacking it out. It's like they want us distracted with other things that are minuscule, not even important things like the Dakota Access Pipeline, which we just talked about. Not even real news that you could say, well, okay, yeah, I could see a split in time with Dakota Access Pipeline and what's going on in, in Syria, but nothing. Absolutely no talk about it at all. So what do you guys think about, well, I guess I already know the answer, but Zuckerberg's planning on cracking down on us. What do you think about that?
Honestly, no. Let him do that. Let him do that. You know why? Because same thing that happened to MySpace. MySpace had a bad business model, and then people just switched over to Facebook.
Because as we were saying, we detected the trend of people being able to share news within themselves without the need from the mainstream media. So we have an audience that we engage with and we become friends with and close with. Like, for example, I have a profile that I specifically didn't want to make it a page because I know that Facebook limits pages a lot. So I wanted to have just another account that I can add people and so you engage with people. And
you basically shift them to something else because right now
we can move people to another platform, and we can still just
right now YouTube is doing the same, and it's kind of doing something similar. They're doing this reporting program where if you can report hateful speech, violence, inappropriate language, and it's very broad to what you can report on, but it's just basically to censor YouTubers. So there's actually some other sources that are springing up right now. They're in beta for right now, but they're actually designing something like YouTube, and people are actually starting to shift in that direction because they don't want to be censored. And if they're actually going to do that, then let them do it, because all they're going to do is lose credibility, lose business, and we just move somewhere else.
Open the door for someone else. And the reason why I say it impacts us, because I looked at the criteria that they're using, or they say they're going to use. They had like 7 key points of what they would use to, I guess, monitor, right, or to try to control news sources. And one of them had to do with how many links you had. So, like, if you break a story, there won't be another source really like out on the internet with a backlink. So if you get a story from CNN, they will be able to see, hey, you got the story from CNN, a reputable source. They won't mess with you. But let's say you, Nico, you go to Standing Rock. You're on the ground. No one else has what you have. It's not on CNN. It's not on MSNBC. And they'll look at that and say, well, where'd this source come from? So that's when you enter down the hole. So even though I'm not saying we're fake news, the fact that we won't have we won't be coming from a bigger source where they'll be able to say, oh, we trust these guys. These are our friends, which is what MSNBC is. I had a journalist on the show last night by the name of Michael Tracy. He brought up a good point, guys. He said, and he agreed. Actually, I brought it up. He agreed. I don't think they would even be considering this if Hillary won. What do you think?
Wait, that just froze for a second.
I was like, I said, yesterday I had Michael Tracy, a journalist, on the show, and I asked him I made a comment. I said, I don't think Facebook would be considering this censorship or controlling news sources if Hillary would have won the election. I think that's what's driving that, at least on Facebook.
That
That's
I mean, that definitely, because I mean, I can see where that comes from, because the thing is that they wouldn't have been concerned about it. They would have been just celebrating the fact that Hillary won. But since Hillary lost, then they started to think about, they were just pissed kind of thing. And then they just had to blame things. And so, you know,
yeah,
social
but
media, like we were actually very influential in the sense, like not just us as like the three of us, but in general, all of us, all the people who were constantly sharing like Jill Stein and they were, because what that did is that a lot of Democrats didn't vote. Like they just didn't feel comfortable voting for a criminal. Like that's just the way it is. Like I've had conversations with many, like they just didn't feel comfortable voting for a criminal. And a lot of people that wouldn't have voted before didn't want Hillary Clinton to win, and they did vote for Trump. So that pissed off a lot of people in the elite.
Well, see, I think
so
that
that does make sense.
I think that still would have happened either way, because Facebook and YouTube, all these media companies are actually working together and doing backroom negotiations, honestly. And for example, YouTube was doing the demonetization of videos. I did one on reasons why, or something that was on topics of Hillary Clinton being a bad politician. And then another one about Trump. The Hillary one got demonetized, but the Trump one didn't. So, you know, I think they're still going that direction either way, but it's just like they're playing favorites with what their censorship will lead to, you know.
Yeah.
And that's not really a secret. Google, like, I don't remember exactly what was the thing that, like, if you
It's really
if you type Hillary Clinton, change the first things, like for example, Clinton Benghazi or something like that.
Yeah, like they would delete that, so it would only be like Hillary Clinton is like
something
a
else,
grandmother or something, instead of it's a criminal. Like they would selectively
and control what you're actually seeing.
What do you guys think about Bernie Sanders, man? I did a video about him earlier today. He was on Conan. Last night he was talking, and I don't know if you saw that or not. It doesn't matter. I just want to know what your thoughts about Bernie Sanders, him endorsing Hillary, and now, Our Revolution. He just did a book, and now he's going on a lot of news sources, and he's talking about leading the Democrats and rebuilding the Democratic Party. What are your thoughts about that? I don't know. Who spoke? Nico, what do you think?
I think I can speak for both of us by saying that we just like really love him. I think like I like that's I don't know, like doesn't, I don't know, like he's the person who put us all together in the sense of he connected so many people, because if you know that someone else is it's someone and you know that they like Bernie, you know like you're kind of in the same page. Like I've been into politics and I've been thinking this exact same things for 6-8 years. But now, like just having Bernie sticker out, like connects me automatically with other people that have the same thoughts, but we didn't have anything to connect us to start and like do what we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, I think we have a lot to thank him for. And about him endorsing Hillary, I don't think that in the beginning I was super pissed, and but then I understood the reason why he did it, and I think it's because he had to run for him to have a significant impact. He had to be within the Democratic Party, and for him to be able to run within the Democratic Party, he had to promise that he would endorse the winner. Mm-hmm. And so from then, and would not run as independent. So from that, in that sense, I understand why he endorsed Hillary, but I still understand why he wasn't more outspoken about the way that the primary was rigged, specifically talking about the role of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And
well, I mean,
that's the point where it gets very sketchy and very.
Well, see, my take on it, it's because he wanted to have a more progressive platform than the Democratic Party, so he had to make some negotiations, and part of that was endorse Hillary, don't route things out, and campaign with her, because the Democratic Party did shift on more progressive values because of Bernie Sanders.
But I think all of this is just speculation, I think, because this is when it gets extremely sketchy, and this is when you get close to Seth Rich being assassinated. That's when you get close to, yeah, right.
It goes down that scary hallway of, it is creepy. It's creepy, guys.
This story.
Yeah,
Sorry?
I'm in DC. I'm right outside DC now, but I'm from DC and I live very close to it. And I tell you, I think about the power structures. But Ricardo, keep it real, man. Bernie Sanders is a sellout. Won't you just admit it, Ricardo? I know you're thinking it.
No.
Forget what he said. That's your friend, but forget what he said. Tell the truth, man. You've said it in your soul. When it first happened, when he went up, he's standing up there, he's looking down, Bernie's looking down at the floor, and Hillary's cackling, smiling. I know you had to think of Ricardo. What'd you think?
See, in that sense, I kind of have that feeling, but like as I said before, he did it for like the greater good. And looking at his record, and he's still what he's doing now, like I don't consider him a sellout. That's just he's playing politics in that manner. And right now, he's being more progressive than ever.
Yeah, that was a trick question, Ricardo. I'm trying to make the show fun, for the viewers at home. I agree with both of you 100%. I just try to spice it up a little.
Came to those conclusions about a couple weeks after they just being like,
yeah, because at first you're just angry and filled with emotions. Like, what did he just do? But then after you come down,
especially
you're like,
because I got the news from a Hillary supporter that I had been having these conversations with, and then he was like just rubbing it in my face, and I was just not happy.
Yeah, but I think the worst part of it all was the Hillary supporters going, vote for Hillary. Bernie's gonna do it. Bernie said. I'm like, well, I'm a human being with my own mind.
Sorry, I'm not gonna sell my soul.
And Bernie Sanders himself, he has videos from before saying, if I ever tell you who to vote for, don't think like don't obey, like don't take it like don't actually.
He said don't listen to me.
Yeah, don't listen. Just vote for whoever you want to vote for.
Yeah. And right now he's doing a lot of good work. Especially, he just proposed a new bill. This called the Outsourcing Prevention Act, which is going to hold Donald Trump accountable for all his rhetoric that he was pushing when he was campaigning. Because he's like, all right,
TPP cannot be signed, like unless Obama signs it before, but which I don't think at this point.
Yeah, so we'll have to see about that, but it's important that we hold him accountable now, because what we see in his cabinets, he's putting people that are really scary. People who want to privatize healthcare, people who want to do outsourcing deal. Goldman Sachs, it's in bed too. He said, "I'm going to drain the swamp," but you're actually making it more corrupt than it was when Obama was president. So it's like you're being really hypocrite. So there needs to be people like Bernie Sanders holding him accountable, like doing the work for Trump. He literally wrote out a bill. You have to, if you push it and sign it, well, like you're good. Keep your word.
Which also, I mean, it's not the job of the president, although I think he can do it, but it's not his job to write the bill. That's what the Congress is for.
Yeah, his staff. Yeah.
But yeah, he has to be willing to sign the bill.
Yeah,
that's what's
and
important.
Push for it.
And that's actually a point that I do want to make. We need to, because what I was thinking is that all those protests against Trump were wasted protests, because that's great. Like the fact that people come together. First of all, it's like 4 months late after the rigging of the primary. But second, I think that we need to unite those people instead of in hatred against Trump, in support for the Standing Rock Sioux, and bringing that issue up to Trump, and then tell Trump that, just show him that we support the Standing Rock Sioux Nation, or the Sioux Nation, and to tell him that he said that he was going to be president for all Americans. And the Native Americans are also just as Americans as he is.
Even more so, right, absolutely.
Are being disrespected, their land that they have sovereignty of, and Obama was there in 2014, I think, and he was telling them about how he wants to respect their rights and what's going on. And I think definitely we need to make Trump aware of the fact that their rights are being violated, and he clearly said in his inauguration speech that he would be a president for all Americans. Native Americans are just as Americans, and their rights need to be respected. And so those protests should be even bigger, but to demand the rights of these people to be respected.
And accountability in general. Hold him accountable and put him up his feet on the fire and put pressure on him. Because if we don't do it, his Republican friends aren't really going to do that either, since they're part of the corporate elitists who just want to work for private businesses.
Yeah, and even talking about that can be our first main battle against fossil fuels. And also, I was talking to this guy on Instagram that is in one of the think tanks of InfoWars, and obviously they're super Trump. And so I was talking to him, and I was telling him, like, hey, so after having already talked to him about, like, 9/11 and, like, other things, so we were comfortable talking about it. But then I was like, all right, dude, so here's the thing. Talking about climate change, talking about gay rights, and talking about campaign finance reform, those are three things that we are just not going to even negotiate. Like, climate change is just facts. And the only reason why Congress doesn't take it seriously is because they're all bought out. And that's when we need campaign finance reform. And you know that the climate change is changing. Like, here in Florida, they are building corporations, building companies that will not build in certain areas because they're going to be gone in 20 years.
Our own school is already building
it's just
up,
a fact, you know,
because we're
and
right next to the wall.
He agreed with that. He was like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, climate change, that is not a doubt, that is not a question.
It's not a Chinese
rights, also not a question. Like, every citizen should have the same rights. That's not a question. And then campaign finance reform, very essential.
Yeah,
so I
who
think
you love should not dictate what your rights are. You're absolutely right. That's the craziest thing in the world, man. I mean, I know people have some closed views, but logically, that makes no sense. Like, who cares? Like, that should have no bearing on someone's. You should not be limiting someone's life or their access to freedoms because of who they choose to be with. That's crazy. But one of the things I noticed, guys, and I don't know if you have, when I'm Trump supporters, some of them are just as in the tank for Trump, like they don't see anything. Like, I'm like, look, he's hiring a Wall Street guy. I thought he hated these guys. He's putting this guy in his cabinet. I think it's this, what's that position, this new person, right out of Goldman Sachs. Anyway.
Secretary of Treasury, I think.
That's something like
that.
And I'm like, dudes, you see this, right? And they're like, well, he doesn't have much to choose from. I'm like, he could choose from. There are other people. There are other people he could choose.
300 million people.
Well, the thing is, I've heard other arguments. It's like, well, he needed to pick someone who's qualified. So you're going to put another corrupt guy in there? No. These people need to stop idolizing him and actually stand up for their own morals. This is why you elected him to drain the swamp. So hold him accountable and make him drain the swamp. Tell him not to pick these people who are working for Goldman Sachs or trying to privatize healthcare, Social Security, and do the corporate job. I mean, come on.
And it might sound harsh, but honestly, I'm still waiting for that Hillary for prison. Like,
yeah.
I'm not joking. Like, she did. Like, she lied. She lied to Congress under oath, which is a felony. Like, any of us will be in a federal prison, in a private federal prison because of that. And so if she ever ends up, actually, she's definitely not gonna, because like the owners of the prison are her buddies. But if she ever ends up in a private federal prison, it would be the most ironic thing on earth, I think.
That'd be my dream.
There's a lot of hypocrisy going on. A very notable journalist who I follow on Twitter and who follows me, he was a supporter of Hillary Clinton, but other than that, he's like really out in the front. I don't even want to put him on blast again. He makes a tweet about Trump meeting with Petraeus. And because Trump made a favorable tweet about Petraeus. He said, Petraeus is a good man. It was great to meet with him. And this well-known journalist goes, oh, this guy, gave away classified information, and you're praising him? This is, what a shit show. Excuse my French, that's what he said. And I'm like, I can't believe this guy just said that. Hillary did the exact same thing. She even took it a step further. She put the server in her house. And you're talking about Petraeus. Petraeus, he got punished for that. Hillary did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's hypocrisy on the left. Oh, I would. You know what? I don't want to even call it left anymore. There's hypocrisy in the Democratic establishment.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
a corporate left, which is they are just as liberal as the bourgeoisie was liberal in the 1800s when they were taking over the monarchies. Like they are liberals because they were against the monarchies 200 years ago. Like that's literally where the term comes from. Like these people are not liberal anymore. Like that's not a thing.
Honestly, I see them as sensible Republicans. You know?
No, that's what they are. Like that's for example, this is actually kind of even weird, scary, but whatever. Like Hillary Clinton, even like her persona, is basically duplicated somewhat to a degree in England with Theresa May. They are very similar. They're like Margaret Thatcher kind of thing, kind of very Obama, like very Tony Blair, many like they're kind of like that group, whatever. But and in England, Margaret Thatcher is the prime minister, the leader of the conservative side, while of the Tories. While in the U.S., they are kind of infiltrated with the same platform kind of, but in the People's Party, which is the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
And while over there, the leader of the People's Party, the Labour Party, is led by Jeremy Corbyn, who is basically the Bernie Sanders over there. So it's pretty amazing to see how here the corporate side or like basically this corporate party or whatever are taking over both parties. And there's emails that WikiLeaks showed of Hillary Clinton saying, yeah, what we need is two very bland parties that don't stand for anything, basically, or for the complete opposites. So people vote for one or the other and forget about it. And there's also a lot of single issue people who vote for like whoever is against abortion, and it's just as simple as that, to keep people kind of what you were just talking about now with that consciousness. It's the same thing. The mainstream media kind of takes away that consciousness of knowledge of who is running for office, who, like, what are they saying. It's very simple things. It's like when you run for high school, whatever, anything, you have to explain people why they should have to vote for you, not show up in class like, you know, like just because you're popular or whatever, and then say, well, if you vote for that person, it's a wasted vote for me. I don't know, like, you have to convince people to vote for you.
Yeah, honestly, and a lot of the rhetoric that the mainstream media was pushing and still pushing against like Bernie Sanders and Jill Stein is like, oh, what are you taking votes away from Hillary Clinton?
Gary Johnson, even to a degree, because Gary Johnson, a lot of votes that he got were just liberals, you know, like and progressive people that were like, well, at least he's independent.
Yeah, they shame people for having a voice, for having a candidate that represents them. It's like, do you want
That's what
a democracy?
is. Yeah, that is what democracy is.
Did you guys play in that?
You know, like, you gotta adapt to the duopoly. That's I don't know. I think the two-party system is dying, and so is the mainstream media.
So what do you think about the recount 2016, the Jill Stein-led recount that to be taking place in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania? What are your opinions about that, Ricardo?
Honestly, I don't think it's going to do much, but if Jill Stein wants to do that, she has every right to do it, because, you know, recounts aren't really that rare. You know, they happen in every single election, but the media is playing it off as she just wants to start more trouble and stir things up. It's like, it's normal. I don't know why we're making such a big deal out of it. You know, if she wants to do it, let her do it. I don't care. It's not going to make a difference, but, you know.
Actually, I had a post about that this morning that like became pretty controversial. The thing about like what I was saying is that to me it makes absolutely no sense, and it kind of even pisses me off to see so many people wanting a recount for Hillary Clinton when she stole the elections against Bernie Sanders. Like, where is the recount for Bernie Sanders? You know, like we're 4 months late, and I think that just makes no sense. if people claim that it would be fair to do a recount for Hillary Clinton, well, I think it would be actually unfair to have a recount for Hillary Clinton when there was no recount for Bernie Sanders when she stole the vote. I just think that it's very hypocritical to be bringing that up right now, and not before. And same thing I think about the protests. Like those should have happened 4 months ago, not now.
Well, you know, just to say, like, I found out after my show yesterday that Margaret Flowers, who I've had on my show, many people in the Green Party do not support Jill Stein's initiative. This is something Jill is doing on her own, absent from the Green Party, okay? So Ajamu Baraka, he made a statement that he doesn't support it either. So, and I'm like, like, these are people I respect. Like, you know, I gave Jill the benefit of the doubt, and I'm still trying to ride with her on it because I've met her too many times, I've spoken to her too many times, but I really need to have a conversation with her to kind of get a real clear understanding of why.
Yeah, no, I mean, same
you know what I mean? Because Ajamu, I've spoken to him and Margaret, and I have relationships with all three, so now it's like, okay, I don't know, but I just want to make sure people know that I'm aware of it, because people, guys, you know how it is. You're on social like I am. You're on Instagram and you're on Facebook. You know how it is. I've been hearing it from and tagging me every minute. Tim, you got to see this. This is what Ajamu said. Did you? And I get that like 100 times, and then here comes 101. You know, the worst part is when you get the 3-day-old news, where they hit me on Facebook with the 3-day-old news, like I've been, like, what do you think I've been doing? Like, I know it's a recount going on. You got to see this. I don't think we talked long enough about Dakota Access Pipeline.
Yeah, that's true.
We got to get that some more attention, guys. My friends Nico House and Jeff Day are on their way back from Dakota right now, so they're gonna join the show probably next week. Either one of you guys jump in, man. What's up? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What's the temperature around your campus? I don't know. Talk to me.
Well, this is a historic time in our American history right now, and we're trying actually to jump on that as soon as possible, because the atrocity that's being done against these protesters, these non-violent protesters, people are saying, raising their hands up, saying "I love you," while a cop in return goes some pepper sprays them in the face, and still standing there. This is bravery at its finest. Because I honestly have the most respect for these people fighting for their democracy, fighting for their water, for the water of millions of people, for their land, for what's theirs, and then seeing the cops turn around and actually attacking them when they're supposed to be protecting and serving the people. The pipeline, it's illegal. It's being illegally built. They should turn around and be pointing their weapons at the construction workers. Why are they doing that? I mean, our taxpayer money is going to fund them.
And to be very simple, for example, the proof, simple evidence of the fact that the government is and these oil companies are doing what they're not supposed to do is the fact that the government they have offered $1.3 billion dollars to the Standing Rock Sioux to stop the protests and to just let the pipeline happen. And they just will not allow that.
So the government...
So the fact that they're offering that money means that they know that they are doing something wrong.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just offer $1.3 billion to just, any group.
They're just cool like that. That's what they do. They give away billions of dollars for fun. I want to update you on that too, because Michael A. Wood, he's been on my show. He's a Baltimore police officer. You may have checked him out before. He's also a veteran, right? And he's leading like the veterans for No Dapple thing. Yeah. So I just realized that today. I'm like, God, this guy's doing this is major, because you just imagine you got former police officers and former veterans, or veterans, always a veteran. What's a veteran? Always a veteran. Going to Standing Rock, and they're like, if they tear gas us, it's on. All right, so that's a media nightmare. Think of it. You got police brutalizing police for oil. Oh, guys, game's over once they get down there. I think they'll be there by tomorrow.
Yeah,
we need to go. That's why we need to go. Not just because of the journalism of it, but because of the activism of it. It's just like we just have to be there. Even if we didn't have insight, like
Yeah.
Just like they have to be
We
there.
actually have a GoFundMe page right now. So you can go to GoFundMe.com/StandingRockCoverage, and basically we're gonna do on-the-ground reports and a documentary at the end of our stay to basically bring out a light of this issue, bring awareness, because awareness will lead to action. People need to be informed of what's happening right now, because if people are not getting this information, they're just gonna trample over these protesters. These protesters who are fighting for what's theirs, and it's really unfair from the mainstream media not to give proper coverage. They're only covering the press release from the Morgan County Sheriff's Office, so they're only doing one-sided reporting. And there have been no the reporter that we have over there. He's saying, I haven't seen the mainstream
And
media.
even then, it's still a media blackout. Like they don't really
You know,
talk.
this is what I heard, Nico. I heard this. The police have instructed reporters from news stations and news entities in North Dakota that told them they cannot talk to any civilians about the pipeline. They can only talk to the police department. They cannot go to Standing Rock. That's what I saw. I saw a video, and that's what the lady was saying. And that's what the reporters told them. They could not interview them. They walked up to the news. They saw a news van. Hey, we got a story. They're like, we can only talk to police.
Okay. Well, that wouldn't surprise me
Crazy.
because I had already read something that said that the governor, what's the name? Well, the governor, no, Snyder is in Michigan. This other where the governor is, he passed something recently that basically people couldn't license plates that weren't from North Dakota couldn't be driving around like 6 miles of the radius.
Yeah, and they
of
also put a no-fly zone. Well, first of all, why would you have a no-fly zone in the middle
They
of
don't-
nowhere in North
yeah.
Dakota? Like,
And the indigenous, I don't think the indigenous people, I don't think they have many like planes. There. Like I don't think they have
Yeah.
an airport.
They
So
don't want those
it's
drones filming them. That's what that
Yeah.
is.
That's it. That's
Because like we're trying to raise 5K and a grant of those 5K will be to drones, to one drone to obviously like.
yeah, because
Wow.
thanks to the drones, we were able to find out that they were actually half a mile from the water, even though President Obama suggested, very weak of him, to just be 20 miles away. So that has brought more light to it, and they want to do everything they can to stop the information from flowing out and basically blacking out this issue. But honestly, it's getting too heated right now. Things are escalating very quickly, and I don't know where what's her name, Elizabeth Warren has been. I mean, she's part Native American, and I'm honestly very
right.
disappointed that she's not in there right now protesting with her people, honestly. And I want Bernie Sanders. I want every politician who has.
Well, Bernie has been there. He has been very outspoken about it. He has called on Obama to say something, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm satisfied. I guess Tulsi Gabbard has been also amazing about it. She's had so many petitions going on. You can clearly see how there's like some people that have really taken this. And as I'm saying, like even from before, like with the Ty Lopez thing, what's happening in North Dakota, like it might sound super like materialistic or whatever, but it's a trend, like in that sense, like it's something that people are starting to pick up, and whether the mainstream media is gonna block it or not, people are still going to keep talking about it, and actually the more they suppress it, the bigger it's going to get, because people are still going to learn about it, learn that it's true, and if they're not seeing it in the media, then people are going to know that there's some sketchy, and they'll want to find out. So people are still going to find out, and this trend is going to continue on. So I think that actually with the veterans that are going to be there, there's going to be more momentum, and this is going to get a lot bigger. Like,
Yeah.
I think this hasn't still yet become what it's gonna be.
And if it actually is built, it becomes dangerous, because then this just leaves a precedent for more pipelines to be built. And if we keep shutting down these protesters, then that's just weakening our democracy. Then the private businesses can do whatever they want. Honestly, in Florida, they're trying to build one right now. Florida does not have the grounds to do that. I mean, in the place where they actually want to go through, there's a bunch of sinkholes. How are you going to pass a pipeline through a bunch of sinkholes? You don't think that one of those might actually collapse and disrupt your whole pipeline?
That most do, but it's still profitable, and they don't care. Like, it's simple as that. They don't care. Like,
I also think people haven't discussed enough on the pipeline. They haven't discussed the racial component. I think if this was in a white neighborhood, I don't care where in the country, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Yeah, no, someone told me today that they were actually planning on, like, without looking at the map specifically neighborhood-wise, racial-wise. In the beginning, it was going to be through a white neighborhood, and then they had like a meeting and they petitioned not to, and so they didn't, and then they chose the Native Americans. And I've read this article from the Orlando Sentinel, and what they were saying is that the people didn't have the right to support the Standing Rock Sioux because they didn't go to the meetings that the big oil companies were hosting to talk about that. And my thought was, well, they didn't have to. It's like saying, well, I own this house, and then there's these people meeting to see what they're gonna do with my house after they demolish it. But like, I don't need to be there to tell them that like, this is my house. You're not gonna demolish it. You're not gonna do anything. Like, not their fault not to go to the plot of the destroy. That's not a valid point, I think. And yeah,
I took your car because you didn't come outside and stand. You didn't go drive it. You didn't go sit in your car, so I took your car. Oh, it's my car, dude. I'm in the house, man. I'm in the house. I don't have to be in my car 24/7 for you to know it's my car. That's a stupid argument that they have, man. Guys, this has been great. It's been a great conversation. I need you to. I'm thinking maybe a lot of people are getting to know you now. So tell them how they can find out more, how they can follow you, how they can get more Insight News.
Or InsightNN.com, our website, and that's linked to our YouTube. So if you go to Insight, like www.insightnn.com, then you will see an option as videos that will show you the YouTube videos, and then you can just go into our YouTube. We're actually pretty weak with YouTube.
Facebook's where we're at. But if you just look at Insight News Network, you'll find us through there. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram as well. And again, the GoFundMe page is gofundme.com/standingrockcoverage, and you guys can contribute there or just share it, because let's get this momentum going and actually make a change.
And if you wanna write articles for us or with us, just send us a message to Insight, on Facebook. We respond to every message.
Or if you just want to talk to us.
Or just want to talk to us.
We're normal people.
We respond. Yeah, exactly. We respond to every single message, and we try to just be as engaging as possible.
Yeah, we like having conversation with our audiences.
Actually, a lot of people that have messaged us, we've remained in contact with and have been very influential overall. For example, Kian. It's like this journalist who lives in Iran, and he's just he has his documentaries, and he used to work with Lee Camp, and this very
we all help each other out in a way.
It's a really cool community. It just becomes a really cool community, and so if you message us, we will respond and we'll talk.
Yeah.
There you go, guys. Look, I want you both to know that I really appreciate you taking time coming on the show. I appreciate your, the sharing that you've done for me over the, you guys are doing. I didn't even know you were doing it for a while. I appreciate you so much, and you are inspirational to a lot of young people who are wanting to get in and do some stuff. They got some things to say, and you inspire people too. So please keep it up and stay in contact with me. And look, folks, you two people, Insight News Network. I think if you look that up, I think you're going to find everything.
You'll find
it. That people think that it's inside, as
inside. No,
insight. Insight, as we try to be very thankful.
Insightful, insightful. Well, look, guys, it's been a pleasure. Give it up, everybody, for my friends Nico and Ricardo. Give it up for them.
Thank you.
You know it. I'll catch you guys. Thank you.
All right.
All right, man. You got it, guys. Wow, guys, that was great. That was a great conversation. great. You know, I saw the quality kind of dipping on my end. I hope it's okay. Hope you're able to hear everything. Gosh, to be young again, you know, like just to have, you know, yeah, like, you know, just fire, you know, but I guess I'm young at heart, right? I got fire in the belly. I come out here excited all the time to do my shows, but it's great to see other people, and this is it's just cool. It's just cool to have young people, younger people. How old are you, Tim Black? But you know what I'm saying. These guys are great, and I wish them the best, and I'm glad I was able to give them an opportunity to come on the platform, and their heart's in the right place, and their politics is in the right place too, and they don't trust the media, so they became the media. So that's what I try to do. I kind of stumbled into becoming the media. You know, I didn't know this was going to happen. So check out InsightNewsNetwork.com. You never know, a year from now, these guys, I don't know, man, they got their own studio, building. Who knows what'll happen? Who knows what I'll do? We don't know. But support independent media if you can. And I'm not one of those people that say, don't subscribe to this person. Subscribe. Look, you can subscribe to 20 channels. How many channels you got on your cable? You know, a lot of them you don't watch. But so you can subscribe to more than one person. You know, I'm not stingy. Just make sure you stay subscribed to me. Wow. Interesting conversation. Look, Coffee with Tim Black, I did a video that I want you guys to check out if you get an opportunity. I really wish you'd make the time because I talked about Bernie Sanders on Conan. And there actually is another part to that video that I need to do as well where Bernie talked about the media. And he did not pull a punch. He just let it all hang out. So it would have been great if Bernie on that platform on Conan, if he would have said some things about the Code Access Pipeline, that would have been great to give it that boost. But you know how it is. We want everything from Bernie. You know, just keep giving us, Bernie, keep giving us the stuff we need, you know. No one is perfect, right? Some people are more perfect than others. But I definitely am an admirer of Bernie Sanders and what he's doing. So with that, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the show. I don't have my Facebook hooked up. I just went with YouTube today. But as I said during the video, Nico House and Jeff Day, I talked to them recently before they left and as they're coming back. So we're going to get them on the show. If not tomorrow, next week, because they're still en route. I don't know if they're going to be up to doing a show tomorrow, but we'll see. Looking forward to that, to hear their first-hand accounts of what went down on Standing Rock. I know the weather there is very cold. I'm wondering how they. I heard one of the Sioux Nation folks. He was saying how you got to be really careful. You can lose your life just due to the temperatures, and that they were blocking supplies from the Red Cross. They don't let the Red Cross bring in cots so people can get off the ground. Yeah. Democracy, right? Right. All right, guys, I'm Tim Black. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one. Tomorrow, we come back with Coffee with Tim Black. We also have a show again tomorrow night, Tim Black at Night. Friday, you know the deal, right? Freedom Friday. It's every Friday. That's your show. I just show up to keep everybody honest and give them 5 minutes. Really, that's your show. I do a rant, but then, hey. So I hope that you tune in for that. Okay, that's it. That's all I got, guys. I feel like I feel good. I feel like we accomplished something tonight. And, yeah. Thanks for having my back, people. I've got yours. Keep your eye on your 6. I'll talk to you.